Palantir drops another gem with a new demo for AIP Now, Connected Construction, which showcases further interactions with AI on a visual level, as well as a new blog post too, continuing to spread Palantir's views, and also a quick mention of Palantir on the lightning round with Jim Cramer. So quick blurb first for Cramer at least. When asked from a call about Palantir, he mentions as a quote, Palantir's got good commercial and good military. They want to emphasize the commercial. I think it's fine. And nothing more from there from Cramer at a surface level that does technically cover the current strategy of Palantir at a super high level. Now do as you want with this information considering it's Cramer's point of view, but I personally don't hold weight to it besides Palantir continue to get exposure to more retail investors just being mentioned on CNBC. Then for the latest blog post, Palantir posts escaping the cargo cult, exchanging blind faith for real-world outcomes. So first referencing Shyam Sankar's technology is a problem piece, attributing the stagnation in business and technological progress to the actual fundamental misalignment throughout the business-to-business SaaS value chain. So this misalignment, in his opinion, spans engineering, procurement, implementation, and operations, where the focus is on internal metrics rather than addressing the true needs and problems of the organization. So this results in performative progress, so not true ones with poor outcomes. So the following issues are pointed out. Software companies are prioritizing technology over actual client goals, and then procurement professionals focusing on complex frameworks rather than just the outcomes. And then consultants and internal IT teams emphasizing their preferred processes and metrics, as well as management focusing on controllable non-core metrics. So Sankar argues that this problem is systematic and prevalent in both private and public sectors, with government projects also suffering from added goals and obstacles, making it more complicated, and overconfidence in actual technological solutions that has normalized systematic failures. And that's seen in incidents where he points out British Airways IT collapse and over-budget public infrastructure projects as examples, and then calls for a shift from a tech-first to a mission-first mindset, where they take the opportunity to highlight Palantir's success by focusing on operational outcomes and addressing real problems, rather than relying solely on pure technological innovation, with finally urging a radical realignment towards tangible outcomes and accountability, warning against the cargo cult mentality that places blind faith in technology without addressing the core issues, which has been a very big part of Palantir's mission. Then we get a new demo here. Chad walks through an example of a company needing to manage multiple construction sites across the country. This is all while tying together different systems and data together, where each of the sites may run a little bit different here from the construction point of view. Being able to manage machinery, the cash, just to name a few variables, you're able to dive into individual construction sites' work orders that are needed to finish a project off. And when looking at the key indicators, that can see how these different data points are working together, and throwing an example of maybe material order changing and how it affects the potential that plays out, and ready for the review. Being able to write back to this theoretical scenario to the source of truth allows any subsequent workflows taking that into account and not sitting in a silo by itself, meaning the whole organization can see this change. So with another example, he further goes into the chat scenario, building the design and how an analyst can interact with it actually, and the AI to answer your questions not only with text-based responses, but also through the 3D image there showcased on the left, and it's visually that someone can actually get the answer. Then further down, another example too is understanding the cash flow aspect and how things will time out in comparison to all the supplier agreements and timing. And with AIP, they did a small example of taking the info out of the contract, where Chad took out the key terms in order to take those out to ensure the agreements are actually being followed, and being able to cross-check this with invoices, so everything is able to be matched up and tied together with the power of ontology. So then being able to tie all this together and seeing the sourcing can be optimized further, and looking for similar materials and competing vendors, and having this analysis all available together, they're able to close out here, putting the work order for you automatically, since the AI and human sign-offs see this as a much better way to source the materials for your project. So it's a nice little demo here with a very practical example to construction companies, where you can validate your suppliers are keeping their end of the bargain, which I've actually run into many times in my own career on both sides, on what was signed and originally gets lost in the weeds, and tracking amendments and all that stuff. So I appreciate the example here for AIP Now, but what are your thoughts below? And I'll see you in the next video.